Hello guys, good afternoon. In here I want a presentation about the development of translation quality model. Okay, my name is Novel Chandra Hutagarat. The first the first slide, abstract. The quality of this translation has different orientation and one between the ones that seek to assess the quality of translation holistically. Assessment that touches the problem of accuracy, management and translation of translation. Although each of the seven strategies has strength, the side of his weakness is more prominent for the following reasons. First, each of the seven the assessment strategy measures the quality of translation is not holistic. Secondly, because only one or two aspects of a quality translation are read, the weighting of each aspect is not given. The third, no explanation of what competence which the translation and any criteria that the translation of the translation quality. The fourth and the last, no explanation of how much the portion of translation next the text should be delayed. The social context of quality assessment translation in Indonesia. Along these lines, a follow-up to the present study would be a future investment of the practically of the proposed model with the greater variety of text as different language pairs with various province and the text types. Such study should elicit information responses involving a number of monolingual and bilingual critics. Judge whose task is to read the TTT version as the first proposed model. The public is the user of the translate work and they don't want it. The mistakes in the books, the translation the book and read on the site otherwise and complaint is often baseless because the parameters used are very subjective that a good translation or quality is the delicious translation. The read, in fact, the translation is easy to read, just as translation that is easy to understand. And easy to understand translation are not always synonyms with accurate translation. Translation can be said to be of good quality. The first, that translate text is accurate from the in terms of content, or in other words, a message that is contained in the translate text must be the same with the message contained in the original text or source text. Second, the translate text is expressed in the terms of which valid in the target language and not contrary to norm and culture. Valid in the target language and the last and the third, text translation can be understood easily by target readers. Purpose of translation. Adaptation may be understood as a set of translative operations which result in a text that is not accepted as a translation but is nevertheless recognized as representing a short text of about the same length. As such, the term may embrace numerous page notions as imitation, rewriting, and so on. Strictly speaking, the concept of adaptation requires recognition of translation as a non-adaptation, as a somehow more constrained mode of transfer. Accuracy aspect accuracy in a term used in the evaluation translation to refer to what the text is source language and language text. In fact, Gilmore and Rowe, 1977, argues that a measure that base of the character language and psychology nothing more than just a tool for a writing in just the readability of the text with the ability of the readers of the text. Outside the academic context, an assessor of translation published in general is done without the objective and sometimes analysis criteria without comparing and translation with the source text. Mills and Albert, 2001. The, the formative function of assessment aims to obtain information for training purpose. This idea was put in 2067 by Scriven. According to Average, the most important feature of the formative function. Honig, for example, state that the study which is done is translation many times regarding the problem of translation quality. To determine quality of the translation intended, researchers need to establish criteria to judge the quality of the translation. Conclusion: the translation quality assessment model general through this research capable judge quality holistically because of each aspect judge not only a matter of accuracy and acceptability and readability of the text translated. Okay, the second explanation, according to Horses. In fact of translation, engineering of the quality of translation, a case study on social text. Results and discussion after reading, comparing, and reducing process. Samples were taken. Data. The data above is a pair of sentences which contains translation technique. The data is then assessed by the reviewer for accuracy, acceptability, and readability. After going through the calculation process, the following research. Quality translation of the book, The Origin of Modern Minangkabau Lit, responses to that colonial century, which is a translation of the book The Minangkabau Response to Dutch colonial rule in the 19th century, is based on a level of accuracy, accessibility, and readability. Research methodology. This research is product-oriented research using a descriptive, qualitative approach with the fixed case study designed for single case objective. Data were collecting using note-taking technique, taken selectively, criterion-based selection. Meanwhile, effective data were collected. Truth-giving questionnaires to informants accompanied by interviews. There are three types. The questionnaires used are: the first, accuracy rating instrument to measure the level of accuracy of the message translation. The second, acceptability rating instrument for measuring the level of acceptance of the translation. And the third and the last, readability rating instrument to measure and the readability of the translation. Conclusion based of the analysis and discussion on active types of translation techniques are applied. The dominant translation technique applied is technique, application, common equivalence, rhetorical translation, and modulation. Selection of techniques. This is influenced by the translator's background as assumed from his abilities translator in providing more explicit information and explanation and concert in in its translation, and the high accuracy and readability contribute more by application technique. Meanwhile, inaccuracies of the arise from modulation techniques, additions, and the omission because the information is eths or not fully translated into TL. As a result, the information provided by the author original is not conveyed in translation, either expressed or implied. Several other parts of the translation also experience mistakes, distortions as the result, the application of unnecessary elimination and modulation. Okay, thank you for the presentation by me. Say goodbye.